Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode in our series of webinars on Knowledge V3. Today, we are going to cover reporting best practices, but before that, we'll also do a little bit of recap on Knowledge V3. So the agenda today, we'll talk about what new features we have in Knowledge V3, deep dive on reporting, talk a little bit about upcoming sessions. No, by the way, this is Sarup Paul again. I am the product manager for knowledge management here at ServiceNow. So let's jump in. So what is Knowledge V3? As you may have heard, starting the Fuji release, the knowledge application was changed quite significantly. And we'll talk about those changes in a bit, but the most important fact is that those changes are automated and are also mandatory as a part of the upgrade. While that means that you don't have to do anything to get the new things that are part of the knowledge application now, it is important to understand what the changes were prior to the upgrade so that you are able to take benefit of those new capabilities and also smoothen the transition for your users and your authors. So what are the new features in Knowledge V3? In Fuji, I'll talk it about by releases. So with Fuji, we introduced the concept of multiple knowledge bases. The idea is that different groups within your organization, let's say security or operations or install base, they will have different sorts of content that they're going to write and different people that they're going to write. Their audiences are going to be different. So knowledge bases, having separate knowledge bases for them helps from a publishing standpoint. You can have your own configurable workflows for each of those knowledge bases. You can have your own category tree for those knowledge bases. And as I said, access control is also separate. For access control, starting Knowledge V3, we moved away from ACLs and roles to use user criteria. While ACLs and roles are still supported, user criteria is the forward-looking feature. It allows you to do advanced segmentation of your users based upon groups, roles, locations, their manager. If you are doing multiple companies, then companies. And that's how you can define the segments. And for those segments, you can define which of those can read the knowledge base, cannot read the knowledge base, can contribute or cannot contribute. So that was Fuji. In Geneva, we introduced two cool features. First was social Q&A. It's our way of doing something like Stack Overflow within the organization. The idea is your end users are able to interact with themselves, within themselves, and they are able to create questions that somebody else within the users can answer. It's crowdsourcing of your knowledge. Whatever is asked and answered are searchable, and then it helps to augment your self-service capabilities, where content is not just controlled or dependent upon a central team of authors. The next feature that we did was import from Word, very popular. It allows you to import a single or multiple Word documents by dragging them into the knowledge base homepage, and those are created as separate articles in the knowledge base. At the time of importing them, you can choose the category and the knowledge base that they are going to be associated with. You can control how they are, whether they're published directly or whether they get into a workflow, and it's very well adopted amongst our users. With Helsinki, we focused mostly on stabilizing the application since we were feature heavy in the prior to releases. We did a lot of stabilization fixes, and as well as we did some usability improvements. You can see on the home page, we have moved from the squarish knowledge base icons to the tile-based format, which has the number of articles, number of questions already listed, a few other changes in terms of icons and as such. So what to know at the time of upgrading to Knowledge V3? The changes are automatic. So some of the automatic changes, by the way, these are all documented very well in our documentation site as well as blogs that we have written. But few of the important changes that you need to know. All your legacy content that you have in a knowledge base prior to Fuji, let's say Eureka or Dublin, they get all migrated to a single knowledge base called as knowledge. Remember, we are talking about multiple KBs. You do have a new article view page, and that is specifically prepared and developed for showing content from Knowledge V3 knowledge bases. However, if you still continue to use the knowledge KB, the old KB, then the content is displayed in the old article view page that you had. It is changed to article view customer, article underscore view underscore customer, and that page is used for content that is there in the older KBs. Also, with Knowledge V3, we started using the AngularJS technology stack, and which is not supported by some of the older browsers. IE in particular has some challenges. In such cases, you may see that your user interface actually switches to the V2 pages like KB Home or KB Find, and that's by design because those older browsers do not support the Angular technology. In terms of best practices before you migrate and as you plan your migration, you might want to think about your KB structure, which are the knowledge bases that will be shared, which would be restricted, which groups are going to be responsible for each of the knowledge bases, their workflows as such. You can also define your user criteria. It's a good idea to inventory your existing ACLs and convert them. Remember, if you have not customized your ACLs, then you do not need to do much. However, if you customize your ACLs, there are some special instructions, and there are some blogs and questions that we have answered on that. Categories, while the system allows you to have multi-level categories instead of the two-level topic and category in V2, we do recommend that you keep it to 2 or 3 levels deep from a usability standpoint. The system can support n-level deeps, but users may lose track after 3 or 4 layers. So that's the recommendation. Knowledge base security using user criteria up until Helsinki actually uses user criteria at the knowledge base level. So if you want to implement article level security, then you can use roles or business rules to implement that. We have a detailed blog about that on the community as well. And all of the information related to upgrade, we have tried to create a primer source for all of that information is available in a blog, and we highly recommend that you read through that as you go through your migration. All right, so that's about the recap on Knowledge V3. Let's jump into reporting, and then what are the best practices that we have. To start with, what do you need to measure in knowledge management? First and foremost, before you start measuring, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. KPIs, key performance indicators, they really need to be aligned to your goals. If your goal is to reduce your support cost, then you need to derive from that what are the operational metrics that you need to capture that indicate that you're reducing your support costs. So they need to be really aligned to your goals. Also, you need to cater to your current maturity of the KAME program. Reducing support cost and you are in the first 6 months of your KAME program, you might not see that. And it's hard to measure some of those outcomes. So it depends upon where you are in the program. Early on, you are more likely to measure some tactical things like how many articles are getting created because your knowledge base is practically empty, rather than at later stage you are looking for the reuse of the articles, the effectiveness of the articles, and as you mature more, you are looking for more business benefits. So depends upon where you are with the program. Very common question is, what do I measure, outcomes or activities? Example of an outcome is customer satisfaction. Using knowledge management, you can improve your customer satisfaction. There are 3 levels deep of probably operational metrics that you need to capture before you find out that outcome. Whereas there are activities that you can measure, and those are much easier to measure. How many articles got created? How many got attached? So what do you need? Actually, you need both. You need to find out which are the activities that you need to measure to accurately identify the state of affairs, while you're also measuring outcomes for finding out how effective your knowledge management program is. Very important, typically missed, is benchmarking. Before you start the program and as you are setting your goals, it's important to benchmark. Otherwise, it's hard to find out how much you improved. So, do benchmark. I do talk a lot about KCS, which stands for Knowledge Centered Support. It's a methodology developed by the Consortium for Service Innovation, and there are a couple of resources that I have mentioned here in the slide that are pretty good in terms of matrix. So the first one talks about KCS matrix, like what are the metrics that you can measure and what do they roll up to. The other one is KCS benefits and measures PDF. This one actually is very good in terms of finding out what to measure at what maturity of your game program, whether you are in the initial stages, adoption, proficiency, depending upon which stage you are, what are the metrics that you want to measure. Highly recommended, places for information. So moving on, some of the metrics that we recommend that you consider, and by the way, I'm not saying that these are all supported by ServiceNow knowledge management reporting, but in general, these are the things that you want to consider for your knowledge management program. So mentioning, let's go through some of these here. So from an article publishing standpoint, these are the common ones that we see. Articles created by a person, by a team, average time to publish. So these are some of the metrics. Quality and effectiveness, you want to find out how many views on the average rating, how old are your articles, aging report. Coverage in terms of, hey, if you have a particular knowledge base or a category or a product that you are trying to write articles about, how well are you covered, how many articles have you got across all your supported products. Value of an article is a computed metrics, something we don't support out of the box, but some of our customers have done this offline. It's a combination of all the above values. So you can say if I get 100 views, my article gets 2 points. However, if it has been rated on an average at 5 out of 5, then I'm going to give it like 100 points. So you can create a computed value, and that value is a combination of other areas of of measurements, and it's the value of an article. Too often, that is what determines how effective that article is. Another metric, which is also manual, is something called as article quality index. Very commonly used term for knowledge-centered support methodology. And what it does, it has a few parameters, I think 9 or 10 parameters, where you can define how you measure the quality of an article. So you can say, is the article well classified? Is the title understandable? Has the spell check been done? Things like that. And you can give it points based upon that, 0 or 1, and you can scale your articles between 0 and 10, what the quality is. Not only is it helps in reviewing the article for a certain standard, but it also helps in coaching your authors how to write good articles. So another very good metric that you need to consider for a knowledge management program. From a service perspective, there are a few things that you may typically be aware of: time to resolve or time to relief, TTR, first call resolution rate. So the first technical call that you get, are we able to resolve, and over a set of calls, how many of them did we resolve in the first call? Article reuse or attach rate. So articles, when they are being used in the context of an incident or a case, they're typically attached to that case as something that solved that case. And in that case, you want to find out what the attach rate is. Cost per incident as well. That's a measure from a service perspective. The business benefits are a little more hard to measure, but they come more relevant towards the later stages of the maturity of a program. These are things that you want to get out of your knowledge management program. Agent ramp up time. So if somebody new joins the team, how long do they need to ramp up to be able to support effectively? And the better the knowledge base, the less that they have to learn from their peers, and the quicker the ramp up time is. Lower support cost. Obviously, if you're able to solve incidents or cases faster using the knowledge base, then you are solving more incidents. You're lowering your support costs. Same team can handle more incidents. Customer satisfaction, again, something hard to measure, but eventually, if you're giving quick resolution and customers are also able to self-service, then you will have improved customer satisfaction. Things like these are harder to measure unless you have benchmarked. So, aligning your goals that I was talking about earlier is very important. You find what the current benchmark values are for these metrics, and then you move on. So let's find out where you can find information like this or reports like this from ServiceNow knowledge base. So what I have here in the next couple of slides are a few knowledge base tables, ServiceNow tables that have the information and the reports that we may need. So KB_knowledge, most of you may be familiar with this table, has the article itself. So you will find article creation and publication trends over time, coverage by a knowledge base or a category, contribution by different authors or groups, what the average rating of that article is, view count. The view count that you find in the KB knowledge table is a rolling 30 days. That 30 days is configurable in properties, but you tend not to overweigh the view count for something that was written 3 years back and has been accumulating views. So it's something that you want to take into consideration. KB use table has the actual views of the article over time, not the rolling. So you can take a look at it from there. You can find authors with the most viewed articles. You can do a lookup based upon the author and whose articles are getting viewed most. KB use also contains the article to task. Task is an example of, let's say, an incident or a case. The linking rate that you have, that information is available in KB use. But this is the older using the book icon that you see on the side of the short description on your incident form. If you're using contextual search, which is the more standard way of accessing knowledge base as a part of incident resolution, then the table is as follows: CXS, which stands for contextual search, _rel doc detail, and that's where you find the linking information between article and task for contextual search. Moving on, a few other tables. KB_feedback. This is where the rating is stored. This is also where, if you're using the helpful yes, no feedback mechanism on your knowledge article page, then that information is stored. Also, comments that are received are stored here. That's not an easy thing to measure, but qualitatively you can look at comments for maybe some article that have lower ratings, so you can find some of the information. KB submission, that's quite popular as a use for submitting articles for users that don't have the permission to create articles. You can from there find out metrics such as average submission processing time. You don't want the submission to be processed for not to be processed for a really long time, right? So you can find that information there. Submissions by a team or group if you are tracking that metric. It seems like I missed something here, but the TS query KB table actually has the information about the search logs. So this is where on your UI you see the search logs. You can create reports from this like searches without results. I'll cover that in my live demo in a bit. And then if you're using social Q&A, the information is available in this KB underscore social QA underscore question. An example of a report you can get from that is questions not answered. So let's go into a demo, and we're going to talk about what reports we have available. We'll create a custom report. We'll also show how to add that report to your home page. So what I have here is a demo system, and you want to go to the reports menu here, and if you look at all, if you clicked on all and you look at reports, these are all the reports that are available out of the box. The easiest way to search for reports that are related to KB, typically they have the KB term in the table. So these are the reports that have been created for knowledge, and there are quite a few of the reports, about 27 reports that are there out of the box. Something that you may want to consider, some of these reports do use the topics from Knowledge V2. So depending upon we are still using Knowledge V2 or Knowledge V3, you may need to modify your reports to use the appropriate category or the topic value. So let's look into how to create a new report. A lot of you may be familiar with this, but I just wanted to do a quick recap. And this is something that's relatively easy using the reports module of ServiceNow that comes for free. But also, if you're using performance analytics PA, then that's also possible. Not covering that today, but another day we can talk about that. So just as I was saying, I'm going to do a report based upon the TS query KB, which is where the search logs are. And let's do a column chart to find out number of search. Let's do just number of searches by month first. So let's run a report. So we know that these are number of searches in the last few months. Again, this system was refreshed recently, so there's not a lot of data, but we can take a look at that. One quick trick with the reports is you can display data labels. So you can run this and you will see the actual number of searches, in this case 47, really low for a production system, but this is a demo system. And then let's add a filter condition, right? So let's add a filter condition to say number of results is 0. So you really should be concerned about these, because these are searches that did not result in a result in an article being returned. So if you look at this, and you see that this is pretty bad actually, but this is saying that 28% of the searches in June did not lead to a result. So then you might need to go in and actually take a look at the TS query table and find out which are those searches and find out what's going on. We did a session earlier, I think a couple of months back, on how to tune the search for knowledge. You may want to go back and take a look at some of those tips and tricks that we talked about to improve and reduce this number. So now that you have this report, you can easily save this, searches, and let's save this. And it's very easy to, if you have a home page, to add this to your dashboards. And let's say I just want to add it at the top, and if I go back to the home page, you see the same report that I was sharing earlier. So searches with the results. Here I have a few other reports that I was creating in preparation for this demo. So you see this here. This is articles by knowledge base over a period of time. So we have customer service knowledge base, IT knowledge base, and then number of articles created in each knowledge base over a period of time. This is one report. These are by categories. So this is another one. Articles view count per month, articles used per month. Usage is basically the linking information. So these are some of the example reports that you can create. And if you have more questions about this, we can always type something into the question section of the of this webinar, and then we can go from there. So that is pretty much it for today. What's coming up? We'll do a deep dive on knowledge-centered support, KCS. We'll also do another session on KM knowledge V3 and upgrade. We did a session pretty early on, but as we are reviewing incidents and questions on the community, we are actually creating an FAQ, which we plan to publish, but we'll also do a webinar and talk about that. And then obviously we are always waiting for your suggestions. Please feel free to share your ideas on topics that we can cover, and we'll try and get to them. That's it. Do we have any questions on the live or in the community, Lisa?
I'm currently not seeing any from the Google Hangout, and I will go ahead and refresh the community page that I have up. And no, not yet. I think they're waiting to mull this over, and hopefully post their questions after they watch the video.
Thank you, everybody. Hope this was helpful for you guys. Again, like Lisa mentioned, put your questions into the community. We are here to help and here to answer your questions. And that's it for today. Thank you.